Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. Now that a court has found the complaint against Smriti Irani's education qualifications maintainable, should she resign, or is that an unwarranted and unjustified demand? In part 2, we present a BJP versus Aam Aadmi Party debate on this contentious issue. But first, is it all over for Vasundhara Raje Scindia? If it's now proven that she signed the secret witness statement in favour of Lalit Modi, has she any choice other than to resign or be sacked? But also, what does this mean for Gadkari, who so strongly defended her on Monday, and for the Prime Minister, who's committed by his manifesto to restoring the credibility of and trust in the union government? Surely, his silence hardly lives up to that commitment. All of those constitute the questions we're going to answer in our first debate tonight. And joining me now to discuss the Vasundhara Raje crisis is the BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra, Congress spokesperson Ajay Kumar, the well-known television journalist Nalini Singh, who will be with us shortly, and the chairman of APCA, Badshah Sen. Badshah Sen, if it is now proven, and it certainly looks as if it is, that Vasundhara Raje Scindia signed a secret witness statement, which she did on condition that it would not be revealed to the Indian authorities and therefore to the Indian people, giving a character certificate to Lalit Modi, a man who was absconding from summons from the Enforcement Directorate, and in the literary sense, even if not in the legal sense, a fugitive. How damning is the situation that confronts the Chief Minister of Rajasthan this evening?
Well, Karan, the point is there are several issues coming out of that. One, of course, and most important, is that she made it clear that she didn't want the Indian authorities to know. Now, I cannot understand how a responsible leader, a responsible statesman, a leader of the opposition could actually keep things from the Indian officials, from the government, her own government. I mean, whether she's in the opposition or not, this is her government. And that is one damning point that she cannot possibly defend. The second point, of course, is that now that the signatures are out, what I feel is that the BJP is moving in a very confused fashion. At the moment, it seems to be in a state of brazen denial. So I do not know whether it will end in the exit of Vasundhara Raje, or whether she'll continue along with the party to brazenly deny that she's done anything wrong. She may not deny that she signed, but that she may turn around and say the signature itself is nothing, it proves nothing, nothing's wrong. So the point is that they're trying to make it out as if that this crisis either doesn't exist, or that the media will get tired of covering this crisis, a new crisis will come along and everything will be forgiven and forgotten.
Let me bring you in, Ajay Kumar. Your party held a press conference. You shown to the country that signed document. We've all seen Vasundhara Raje's signature and the date 18th of August 2011. In your eyes, what do you think is the more damning part of tonight's revelation? The fact that she signed this document, which is a secret witness statement for a man who is effectively a fugitive, a man who's absconding from the summons from the Enforcement Directorate? Or is the more damning part that when she was asked some 10 days ago, she denied knowledge of it? She said she didn't know if there was such a document, effectively, even if not literally, lying. Which is more embarrassing, which is more damning? The fact that she signed this statement and wanted it kept secret, or the fact that she lied about it to the Indian people?
No, I think the fact, Karan, is of the Prime Minister and the whole cabinet and Mr. Gadkari and everybody knowing the issue. Mr. Gadkari did not go to Jaipur on his own becking and call. So obviously, the right from Prime Minister to everybody, the RSS, the BJP has tried to cover it up. And they were aware of it. They thought that I don't know what, have they lost this, the sense of balance, or they have just got so arrogant that they believe that, okay, there is no signature, we will say everybody there is no signature.
Let's widen the issue step by step and come to Mr. Gadkari's position and the Prime Minister's position later. First, focus on Vasundhara Raje Scindia, the lady at the center of the controversy this evening. Answer that critical question. Which do you think is the more damning? The fact that she signed a secret witness statement supporting as a character witness a man who's an absconder from the Enforcement Directorate summons, or the fact that she lied about this effectively to the Indian people? Which is worse?
I think she lied to the Indian people, and also an affidavit by a leader of the opposition then, earlier Chief Minister, now Chief Minister, saying that the Indian authorities should not know. I mean, if any other country in the world, she would have been labeled as an anti-national, there would have been action taken against it. And it's an anti-national act. I mean, can you imagine a Britisher writing saying that I don't want the government of Indian authorities to write this or no? I mean, the member of parliament in Britain would have been, immediately sacked and prosecuted. Okay. So it's an anti-national statement signed by Vasundhara Raje, cheating the people of India, and I don't think it can get worse than this.
Okay, let me bring in Nalini Singh. And Nalini Singh, let me put you to the extent to which it is possible to construe the sort of potential defense that Vasundhara Raje could have. She says, I believe, in point 16 of that statement, and she says that I imagine in lots of other places as well, that Lalit Modi is being targeted and victimized by the Congress government, that cases are being brought against him which she alleges are false. Whether they are false or not, in fact, is her opinion, but that's her position. And that through targeting him, Congress is also targeting her because she is the leader of the opposition. And she is therefore alleging that the reason why she wants all of this kept secret from the Indian government is because there is a hostile Congress government targeting her, targeting Modi. And in giving a secret witness statement to enable him to stay in England, she wants it kept secret because the Congress is hostile and they will have further reason then to target her and Modi. Does that wash with you?
Not at all. I must tell you that I think that both, you're given either or options, and I have to say that she was wrong on both counts. First of all, to sign such a statement. Secondly, to say that she had not signed it. So both
to suggest she couldn't remember, to be honest.
To suggest that she couldn't remember, and this I can concede that if it was signed in August and you're suddenly confronting her, but people at this level keep a copy of everything that they sign,
and certainly politicians do.
Certainly politicians and a former Chief Minister.
What about her claim that Lalit is being targeted by a hostile Congress government? I'm being targeted through him. That's one good reason to keep this secret.
I would say that these are standard things that you say to foreign governments, especially to European governments, in order to gain access and to gain credibility. So I think that if this was said, it's par for the course. This is just a kind of.
But does it wash with you or not? Does it wash with you that this is a reason for keeping it secret from the Indian government?
Do you know?
Answer that specifically.
I'm telling you, Karan, that we have come to such a pass that you feel, okay, this is the kind of text that's needed, so she's given it. But certainly does not wash.
It doesn't wash with you. Sambit Patra, let me bring you in. It now seems, as far as the world is concerned, maybe the BJP still has a few doubts, but that's your prerogative, that Vasundhara Raje has signed that secret witness statement, giving a character certificate to a man who's an absconder from Enforcement Directorate summons, in a literary sense, even if not in a legal sense, a fugitive. Secondly, it also now is pretty clear that the statement she gave 10 days ago that she couldn't recall, couldn't remember the document was effectively a lie. On both counts, she now stands indicted in the eyes of the Indian people. I put it to you, there are only two courses of action left: to either resign or for the BJP to ask her to step down and effectively sack her. There is no third option. Would you agree, or are you going to brazen it out?
Karan, I would like to begin from where I left day before yesterday. I had said to you, Karan, if you remember, that a spokesperson and particularly a party functionary has to be very patient and he has to deal with everything very patiently. I believe the documents are just out. Very patiently, I can assure you that the party will look into this whole issue, and I promise you that the kind of party we are a party with a difference. We are not going to brazen out anything. We are looking into this matter. The truth would be in front of you. I'm sure about it.
Can I then take your explanation at face value and ask you, what are the 3 top things you wish to check this evening? Specify for the Indian people so they understand.
No, definitely we would like to see whether these documents are authenticated or not, or what was the reason as to why these documents were brought.
And
so
the third?
Let us wait and watch.
And the third? Is there a third?
There may not be any third reason. You asked me 3 reasons. I felt 2 were sufficient.
Are you
whether the documents are authentic or not,
are you in contact with Vasundhara Raje to establish whether this is authentic or not?
I am on your channel right now, so I am not.
I don't mean you personally. I meant
exactly.
your party.
That's the answer I was giving. Since I am on your channel, I would not know what is happening otherwise of me. I'll have to understand the whole thing once I'm out of this. But as a party spokesperson, all I can say is Bharatiya Janata Party believes in probity.
Okay.
Bharatiya Janata Party
that we'll take for granted. Let's not waste time on that. We'll take that for granted. Now, let me ask you another question. If it turns out that this is authentic because Mrs. Scindia confirmed she signed it, what would be the circumstances or the context in which you would say it's understandable for her to have signed this rather than damning?
No, in fact, I would not take a speculative question and answer as to what would happen if it was correct, but I would still on the sideways answer that I would see this akin to something that some Congress and left party MPs, approximately numbering 67, had done to Mr. Narendra Modi by writing a letter to the American president
let's get off
Mr.
that.
Modi
I don't
should not
think
be
two
given a
wrongs make
visa.
a right. If you're a party with a difference, which you just stressed yourself, you wouldn't want to use the precedent set by the Congress to justify yourself. So let's move off that. Let's then leave Vasundhara Raje Scindia's matter aside. Let's escalate one step further and come, Bacha Sen, to the fact that just 48 hours ago, Mr. Gadkari came up with an incredible defense of her. I'm going to quote it because I think it's so important this evening. He said, the allegations against Vasundhara Raje are baseless. Vasundhara ji legally, logically, ethically, mark that last word, ethically, is completely correct. There is no fault of hers anywhere. These accusations have no substance. And then he adds, the BJP of the centre, the state and the government is standing behind Vasundhara fully. Now this evening, it emerges that it's her signature on that secret witness statement, giving a character certificate to a man who's a fugitive, and it also emerges that she, to put it mildly, misled the Indian people when she said she couldn't recall and remember.
No, all this is based on the premise.
I'm asking Bacha Sen, I'll come to you in a moment's time.
Okay.
How embarrassed is Mr. Gadkari? How squarely has he put his own foot or both feet in his own mouth?
Well, Karan, that's very unfair. I guess I have to say both his feet are in his mouth, but to put it charitably, it's just possible that the kind of reasoning that will come through will be that Vasundhara Raje lied not only to the Indian people, but lied to all her entire leadership of her party. So, Mr. Gadkari may not have known, and therefore now that I know, I Nitin Gadkari know, and I Narendra Modi know, it's time for her to go. So it's like she will be a sacrificial goat, and I guess she's put her own neck on the chopping block. But the excuse that will be given, likely to be given, is that we didn't know. She didn't tell us. She didn't tell anybody. She behaved basically very badly.
You call her a sacrificial goat. She's sounding much more like a turkey that's voted voluntarily, willingly, and with her eyes wide open for Christmas.
Well, I'd give a sort of more an American twist. I don't think that this will be the turkey that the president releases on freedom on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, absolutely.
She'll probably be the first one to go.
There's no pardon for Vasundhara. Let me come back to Mr. Gadkari's situation. When he gave that incredibly fulsome, unequivocal defense, actually saying that Vasundhara is ethically correct, there can only be two explanations. One, that he was, forgive my language, gullible and naive and stupid to do so, or he was covering up for her in some way, perhaps mistakenly. I can't think of any third explanation.
Well, the RSS, he's very close to the RSS, and is it possible that the RSS at that time was still of the view that Vasundhara Raje must not go?
In which case, either the RSS was being gullible, naive and stupid, or the RSS was covering up. Because if you can push it back one more step, but the two options remain the same.
But Karan, it's very difficult to believe that the RSS did not know the truth.
So they were covering up.
Let me just finish my sentence. And it's also extremely difficult to believe that the Prime Minister did not know, which is why today I would like to say the Prime Minister has acted extremely wisely. This is my long rope theory.
Well, we'll come to the Prime Minister later. Let's take it one by one. let's stick to Mr. Gadkari. I'll come to the PM in a moment's time.
All right, Mr. Gadkari, then Mr. Gadkari went right against the finance minister, who said that there will be a probe investigating agency. But the finance minister himself said that he doesn't know the meaning of what he meant. So, you know,
that's possible. So come back to Gadkari.
This kind of
come back to my essential question. Is Gadkari therefore proven to have been gullible, naive and stupid? Or is he in some way covering up, knowingly, deliberately? And if it's not Gadkari doing it, is it the RSS doing it?
Mr. Gadkari has had the experience of the Purti group of firms, which were his own. He survived it all. So I think somewhere there the story lies, that maybe there was an indiscretion and in Vasundhara Raje's case, and she's going to survive it. Maybe he didn't have, I cannot believe that he didn't know that she signed it. But
so then he's covering up. Then you're saying he's covering up.
He's covering up much, well, I don't know about covering up, but he's talking much more about Dushyant, I think.
Well, we don't know. Hang on, he says Vasundhara. He doesn't take Dushyant's name.
But he doesn't.
Hang on. Don't mislead the audience. The allegations against Vasundhara Raje are baseless. Vasundhara ji, legally, logically, ethically, is absolutely correct.
So he's making a distinction between her and her son.
Well, I don't know if he is. He's simply talking about Vasundhara. And then he ends by saying the BJP of the centre, the state and the government is standing behind Vasundhara fully. Now, it's Vasundhara we're talking about, not Dushyant.
Fully means that her son too.
Well, I don't know. But let's not speculate. Let's stick to Vasundhara. He is either therefore gullible and stupid and naive, or he's covering up. There can't be a third choice.
I think that I would much rather say that they have actually devised at that time a strategy, and as part of the strategy that he should do
Quite right. If you devise a strategy, it sounds like a cover-up. You're using different words, but you're coming to the same conclusion. It's a cover-up.
Could be a cover-up.
Okay, let's leave it there. Could be a cover-up. I want to go across to you, Sambit Patra. I want to remind you what this afternoon the Home Minister said. When asked a question at a press conference, with great confidence, verging some would say on arrogance, he said, this is an NDA government, not a UPA government. There will be no resignations. And hours later, it transpires that the entire basis has collapsed under Vasundhara Raje Scindia. She's proven, it seems, to have signed a secret witness statement which she wanted hidden from the Indian government, where she gives a character certificate to a man who's an absconder, and it's proven that she tried to mislead the Indian people when she claimed she didn't know anything about this. And here's Mr. Rajnath saying, this is not a UPA government. There will be no resignations. I mean, is your government inept? Are your ministers ham-handed?
Not at all.
Gadkari gives this needlessly fulsome defense, claiming that Vasundhara is right ethically of all words. And now, Rajnath, there will be no resignations. Suddenly, your cabinet looks inept and ham-handed and very, very embarrassed.
No, I do not agree with you, Karan, because of the very fact that as far as Vasundhara Raje's case is concerned, we have to wait for the authenticity of the papers, and we have to wait for the words that Vasundhara Raje speaks. And
we're only talking of a couple of hours at the most. Please, you're only giving yourself a couple of hours grace. What happens
Karan
after that?
You have to give me time to speak. If your question is longer than my answer,
please go ahead.
Yes.
Your voice is the sound of music to my ears this evening.
No,
go right ahead.
Secondly, as far as Rajnath Singh Ji is concerned, if I am right, Rajnath Singh Ji was answering to the question posed by Smriti Irani. And as far as Smriti Ji's case is concerned, Mr. Rajnath Ji was absolutely right in saying that this is not a UPA government where we indulge into impropriety. We are people of upright propriety, and that's the reason as to why there is no question of resignation of Smriti Irani.
I wish we were discussing Smriti Irani, but I'll take a little aside to point one thing out about her before I return to the core focus of Vasundhara Raje. Do you know the argument that you were presenting yourself today? That the 2004 affidavit is time-bound and therefore no case can be built in court upon it? Of course, you're legally correct. It is time-bound. But what you're forgetting is that 2004 was a sworn affidavit where she claimed to have got a degree, a BA full-fledged degree, which she never got. So it proves that under sworn affidavit, she'd lied. You have now in your government a woman who lied on a sworn affidavit.
Not at all.
And
I'll give you an
that turns
answer.
out to be the case. A woman who's a minister who's lied. that is not the grounds to be in office, and certainly not as education minister.
I want to answer this.
Aside. Leave Smriti aside. Come back to Vasundhara.
No, but you have said something which is factually incorrect, and that's the reason as to why the truth needs to come out, Karan, and I want to answer it. As far as the 2004 affidavit is concerned, let me remind you, there can be typographical errors also. Similar to the case of Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, which went to Supreme Court. Similar to the case of Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, which
a letter that's wrong or two. Not
you have to allow me 30 seconds, Karan. It's a big charge that you make. BJP has to give its explanation in 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Sonia Gandhi had a typographical error in a 2004 affidavit under which she was sworn. I thought you were a party
with the difference. You're dissolving the difference.
No, Supreme Court allowed Sonia Gandhi to go. That means the law stands by the side of typographical error. Not to worry.
But a typographical error is a spelling mistake, not a factual mistake.
Sonia Gandhi created a whole Linux Crook University in Cambridge University. Let me tell you, Sonia Gandhi created a whole Linux Cook University in Cambridge, which the Cambridge said did not exist.
Thank you.
Sonia Gandhi said, sorry, it was a typographical error. The party with the difference is now a party without any differences.
Thank you. Anyway, let's come back to the key focus. That was a deliberate aside because Sambit had brought up this particular example of Smriti Irani, and it was important to point that out. Let's come back to our key focus on Vasundhara Raje. I want to put this to you, Ajay Kumar. Do you accept that in handling this, the BJP ministers, first Mr. Gadkari and then today Mr. Rajnath Singh, have actually embarrassed themselves as well, to a point where when Vasundhara goes, question marks will be asked about their behavior and their comments, and people will say, were they gullible, which ministers should not be? Were they naive? Were they stupid, which ministers should not be? Or were they knowingly devising a strategy, to use Nalini Singh's phrases, to help and assist, which to my mind is a cover-up? Which will be the conclusion you will come to regarding Gadkari and Rajnath Singh? Stupid, naive, gullible, or knowingly devising a strategy which amounts to a cover-up?
I would say that they are devious, doing it purposely, and also stupid. I wouldn't say naive, but definitely stupid, doing it purposely. Because one thing is the RSS and the BJP and knew about this, this Chal, Chera, Charitra and all these jumles which they continue to use and fool the people. First of all, Karan, is very simple. The RSS and BJP, with all access to the intelligence bureau and all the information they had, it is very, hard to believe that they didn't know that Vasundhara Raje Scindia ji didn't sign that paper. They knew they signed it. They wanted to brazen it out, and the reason why they're brazening it out is they're genuinely, when you listen to them, they genuinely become extremely arrogant. Look at the statement of Mr. Rajnath Singh following that. Look at Mr. Nitin Gadkari saying it. So they're not only devious, they're arrogant, and at the end, and they knew about it. They were devising, like Nalini ji correctly said, they were trying to find a reasonable explanation. They put their backroom boys to find a communication. You will see in the social media all kinds of nonsense floating. So they knew about it, and they sent their the RSS favorite person Nitin Gadkari to douse the flames. And this whole thing is a charade, and the Prime Minister is aware of it.
Yeah, the problem is instead of dousing the flames, Mr. Gadkari has actually fanned them to a very precarious position. Let's come, Bacha Sen, to the third person. Unfortunately, the most important person in government, who by implication also is in a very embarrassed position today. And it's no secret, I'm talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, before I ask you my question, I'm going to remind you of what Mr. Modi committed himself to in his party's manifesto. This is what that manifesto says on page 6. The biggest challenge that India faces today is to restore the credibility of and trust in the union government. And then that same manifesto adds, the BJP will work for restoring the trust and credibility of the government. By his silence, by his insistent support of a person who now turns out was signing secret witness statements, giving character references for an absconder, and by the way his ministers have behaved, has Mr. Modi and his government restored the credibility of and trust in the union government, or have they further undermined it?
Yes, Karan, as Sherlock Holmes would have said, that's the curious case of the silent Prime Minister. You know, Prime Minister Modi is the voice of both the party and the government. He has never felt shy of saying things about any and everything in the world. You know, least of all yoga, which we saw the other day. Now the point is, it's curious that he's remained silent. Is his silence, it's probably because that they don't have a defense. They don't have a defense. They've not worked out or charted out a proper defense. All along, they were complacent in many ways. They're a curious mixture of furtive silence, brazen denial, and sort of, you know, so this is what has happened. And Narendra Modi doesn't know actually what to say for once. He is unable to speak. He has to speak because he is the leader. He is the number one, number two, number three, and right up to infinity. Leader of the BJP and of the government. All the secretaries to the government of India report to Prime Minister Modi, bypassing the minister.
I'll stop you there.
Silent.
Those are known facts.
How can he be silent after all this?
Let me put this to you, Nalini Singh. Was the Prime Minister's silence part of a supposedly clever strategy that has now perhaps backfired? Or does it, as some people are suggesting speculatively, reflect that he too at some level has links with Lalit Modi, as Lalit Modi's tweets overnight last night suggested, when Lalit was tweeting about how he tried to introduce the head of Rajasthan Royals to Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, in the capacity that Mr. Modi had of the Gujarat Cricket Board chief.
Mr. Modi, the Chief Minister, who as the President of the Gujarat Cricket Association.
So which is a strategy that went wrong, or a fear that maybe there's some link between him and Lalit Modi?
May I, with great respect, offer a third one, which might have escaped you, Karan, which is almost impossible, but still, that there is a third reason why he hasn't spoken, and that is that this is the long rope theory. He's giving a long rope
to whom?
To those who he thinks should hang themselves.
But in the process, is that rope also entwining itself at least partly around his own neck?
No, I don't think so.
Well, he's a terribly embarrassed man who's badly mishandled the biggest crisis
Has he told you he's embarrassed?
Well, he doesn't have to. People don't admit to embarrassment.
Because
we're the press. We judge, don't we? We make opinions. People today think the Prime Minister by his silence has been inept. Isn't that embarrassing?
We form opinions and we want to make sure that the public accepts it. I would say to you
that you
today,
think the Prime Minister
I'm saying something quite different, which is, I hope when the Prime Minister speaks, he says, we have made a terrible mistake, that these things actually happened, that these are the flaws, that I totally acknowledge it. Please remember. And
when he says we made a terrible mistake, is he part of that we?
Yes, he's part of that we, because it's the government. But let me say something. It's the BJP, it's the Sangh Parivar, and it's the government. And I hope he says it. But let me also say, look, where do I get this from? When Bofors took place, Rajiv Gandhi...
I'm not going into Bofors, sorry.
Look
Tonight is not a night when I think
I am saying that one should tell the truth.
One wrong by another wrong. Bofors is another truth.
I'm saying one should tell the truth.
Stick to this.
I'm saying to you, that's what I'm saying, that tell the truth, and it goes a long way in the Indian public. Also, let me say...
Hang on. Let me stop you there. Let's take you one by one.
I'm not happy that there are four women on whom we've got
we'll come to
these
women
questions
later.
hanging.
Let's come to Sambit Patra first while I've got him. Sambit Patra is a man who's probably wanted by many channels. He's one of the few BJP spokesmen who has the courage, the guts, and the thick skin to face up to the music tonight. And I applaud you for doing it, Sambit. You've been doing a superb job across channels. But let's come back to the embarrassing situation you face. I put it to you that this is the most serious crisis Mr. Modi has faced, perhaps the most serious crisis any government has faced for a long time. And the Prime Minister's response has been ham-handed and inept. His silence has made the situation worse. We've got to a stage where speculatively, Lalit Modi's tweets about how he was introducing the Rajasthan Royals heads to Mr. Modi, the Chief Minister of Gujarat, in Mr. Modi's capacity as head of the Gujarat Cricket Board, are leading people to wonder, was Mr. Modi silent because he fears that his own connections with Lalit Modi might turn up? That may be all speculative, I concede, but the embarrassment the Prime Minister faces, the ineptness he faces as a result of his silence is leading to these questions. So I put it to you, his worst crisis, and he's handled it perhaps as possibly badly as he could have.
Karan, give me some time. Karan, thank you for calling me brave, but I tell you, I'm brave from my heart because of the very fact that I know my party in and out. I know that this party has no place for impropriety, and that's the reason as to why I'm on your channel as other channels. Secondly, Mr. Narendra Modi is embarrassed, Mr. Narendra Modi is nervous. No. A man who has faced crisis all his life, a man who has known how to manage crisis truthfully all his life, is never on a back foot, because this man has never gone to any extent of consuming or misappropriating a single paisa of this country.
Then why has he handled it so badly?
Thirdly, I'm answering you, Karan. Thirdly, there is an air of confusion all around as far as this issue is concerned. No one is understanding where is the impropriety, what amount of money. Is it a case that a coal block has been given to someone or a spectrum given to someone? There is a bunch of papers, and the truth is buried underneath the bunch of papers.
Forgive me, now you're being a little far too clever by half. Look, hang on a moment. The impropriety is clearly established. First of all, as leader of the opposition, an official position for which she is paid by the government of India, by the Treasury of India, she gave a character certificate to a man who was absconding from summons from the Enforcement Directorate. Secondly, she then asked the people concerned to keep it secret and not inform the Indian government. Thirdly, when questioned on television, she denied any knowledge of it, pretended she couldn't remember, which most people think was in fact a lie. And most importantly, she's now trying to, when you get to the details of that statement, suggest that both she and, more importantly, Lalit Modi are victims, that they're being targeted by a hostile government. And remember, 15 notices are kept alive by your government and Mr. Jaitley. Mr. Jaitley, with some considerable pride, pointed out before he went to America that 15 notices still stand against Lalit Modi. So if Lalit Modi was being victimized, one would have expected your government to withdraw those notices. If you maintain the notices, that means it's not victimization. On all those multiple counts, there is gross impropriety. Maybe money hasn't changed hands, I grant you that. But corruption is a lot more than money changing hands. And let me remind you finally, your commitment in your manifesto is to restore the credibility of and trust in the union government. Page 6 of your manifesto. Your behavior, the PM's behavior, Vasundhara's behavior, Gadkari's behavior, Rajnath's behavior is damaging credibility and trust in the government, not restoring it. Please go ahead and answer.
Karan, very effectively, I mean, the finance minister of the country made a very important statement. I would like to draw your attention towards it when he said that the government has to do nothing with this, right or wrong, because all of this transpired way back from 2005 to 2011. So it was way back from this government. Please dissociate the government, number one. The right or wrong would be established in the due course of time. The party will never step back and will never brazen out things, let me assure you that. And fourthly, and very importantly, look, I mean, as far as the authenticity of this paper is concerned, I cannot vouch for the authenticity on your channel right now. This is for the party to take a call. Party is too big than an individual like a spokesperson. So I'll have to wait for what the party says, and alone then we will be again ready to face you tomorrow.
Let me ask you a simple question. As a spokesman, of course you have to wait for your party to decide the document is authentic. And understandably, your party has to ring Vasundhara Raje Sindhya to ask her. But this is now a moment of crisis for the party. It is becoming, unfortunately, a moment of deep concern for the country. It is an issue where the Chief Minister of State's integrity is being questioned, where the manner and behavior of ministers and the Prime Minister as well is being questioned. How long will it take you before you establish authenticity? How much time do you need? You can't carry on indefinitely. So will you establish credibility by 9 or 10 tonight?
No, Karan, I am not here to, in fact, preempt as to what the party would be taking and steps the party would be taking. I am here right now to state that we are with propriety. And secondly, and very importantly, there is no crisis in the country as you are stating. The country knows that it is under the rule of a very able Prime Minister who is continuously taking India forward in a forward march of economy, and there is not a single paisa misappropriated by this government.
Well, he certainly is not taking India forward in terms of his manifesto commitment, page 6 of your manifesto, in case you want to look it up, to restore the credibility of and trust in the union government. He is not taking the country forward in terms of fulfilling that commitment. Arguably, he's taking the country regressively backwards. But let me bring in Ajay Kumar. You've heard that the BJP needs a little bit of time to establish authenticity, and understandably, time must be given. But how much time are you prepared to give them this evening? 1 hour, 2 hours, the whole night, 24 hours? How long are you as the opposition prepared to give them?
Karan, the more I hear my friend Sambit and the BJP spokesperson speak, my leader, sounds like, we are talking about North Korea. The question is, I just want to say that Vasundhara Raje Scindia should have resigned. Vasundhara Raje Scindia should have resigned the day these papers were coming up. Papers were in the... More than that, she should have resigned the moment the news broke, at least for propriety's sake. It is already too late. I mean, she should have resigned as of now. And we're just waiting for her to, I mean, hopefully the BJP has some, not such a thick skin. And you correctly said, you know, no, so I hope that tomorrow's morning newspaper has a resignation on the front page. That would be appropriate, late, but still, you know, to some extent acceptable, but very late.
But no later than tomorrow morning's front pages. Let's take a break at that point. When I come back, unfortunately, we've lost Sambit Patra. He's a man in enormous demand as one of the few BJP spokesmen prepared to actually face up to tough questioning on a night which is deeply embarrassing. Everyone wants their little share of him. But we're going to continue after the break with my three guests and ask that one critical question. How much damage has been done to the BJP's promise that they would battle corruption, restore integrity, enforce accountability and uphold standards? For many people, if not most, that was the reason why Mr. Modi was elected. How much damage has been done to that promise? And we are going to change subjects despite the fact that I had told you at the end of part one, we'd be continuing with the old discussion. The reason we're changing is the BJP is a party in a government with multiple crises tonight. And so we turn now to a new crisis. When a court in Delhi this afternoon ruled that the complaint against HRD Minister Smriti Irani's education degrees is maintainable, it was undoubtedly an embarrassing blow for the BJP. But the key question is, does this development call for her resignation? Or is this case significantly different to Jitendra Tomar, the former Aam Aadmi law minister? A furious war of words has broken out between the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party over Smriti Irani's future. Joining me now to argue their respective cases are Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson Ashutosh and BJP spokesperson GVL Narasimha Rao. Gentlemen, in the limited time available to us, I want to focus on one key issue which I believe is at the heart of this debate and presumably the dispute between the two of you. Has Smriti Irani lied or not? Mr. Narasimha Rao, even if the discrepancy between her 2011 and 2014 affidavits can be explained by the fact that the School of Correspondence changed its name to the School of Open Learning, what about the 2004 affidavit where she claimed to have completed her BA degree from Delhi University in 1996, and that is simply not true? And yet, in 2004, she gave an affidavit which means she swore under oath that she had completed a BA degree from Delhi University, and that's not true. And therefore, I put it to you that even if the 2004 affidavit is time-barred and cannot be raised in a court, morally, you have a lady who lied under oath, claiming a full BA degree which she didn't have. And is it fitting that the Modi government should have a minister who's lied under oath? And that should be, in fact, the education minister? How do you answer that?
I think what you are calling a lie can be considered to be a mistake or a discrepancy, which is how the courts also have seen it in the past when Sonia Gandhi's qualifications were questioned in the Supreme Court. So certainly this could not be seen as an attempt at lying, but more of a reporting error.
Well, hang on a second.
And the discrepancy, nevertheless,
I'm interrupting you. I'm interrupting you. First of all, I want to point out that you claim to be a party with a difference. Surely Sonia Gandhi doesn't set the standards of morality that you aspire to. So leave her out of it. Secondly, when you say it's a mistake, a lie is always a mistake when it's found out. When you try and claim, as your other spokesman says, it's a typographical or a typographical error, that usually is a spelling mistake. But when you assert you have a full BA, there is no spelling, there is no typing involved. It's a factual statement that is wrong, and I put it to you deliberately wrong. Therefore, it's a lie. And under oath, it's worse.
I think one can only present a point of view. The point of view that the party has presented and the party has been told was it was an error of reporting. It was a discrepancy. And whether you want to buy that or you want to call it something else, I think you are entitled to take that position. But the party has believed, okay, this was, and because she had not really benefited from that particular affidavit had she really become an MP and had she held a position because of that.
When you claim to be a BA and you're not a BA,
graver.
you benefit from the claim because people think slightly more highly of you. So you do benefit, maybe not financially, but in terms of image, you're claiming to be a BA when you're not. So there is a benefit. It's a benefit of image. But you're very honest, and I want to put that honesty to Ashutosh. You heard Mr. Narasimha Rao say that's what she had claimed. The party took it on trust. You heard Mr. Narasimha Rao say they've been told for now to say this is a mistake and an error. Whether it turns out to be more or not, they'll find out in due course. That's identical to the Tomar situation. When he lied, you believed him, you took it on trust. You also, for a while, maintained that you would stand by him until he was proven wrong. And you perhaps stood by him for much longer than you should have. What's the big difference between how you behaved and handled Tomar and the way they are behaving and handling Smriti Irani today?
See, Karan, I beg to differ with you because you are saying that he has been proven wrong. Till now, the court has not given any verdict whether the documents are forged or not. Only the Delhi police has gone into the investigation, and Delhi police have leaked the information and saying that it is forged. So that's a legal position which I am saying right now.
Too.
Yes, in the case of in the case of Tomar, the fact is that we believe that yes, we committed a mistake by continuing with him, and that's why we asked him to resign. As the legality is concerned, that's up to him to deal in the court of law. The two facts which we were told, because I personally asked Tomar 10 times, there is information about you that your documents are forged. What do you have to say? He showed those documents, and those documents looked quite true. And we believed him. And later on, even the principal of that particular college has given an affidavit in the Delhi High Court and also given interviews to different newspapers and said that those documents are true. So we have no reason, we had no reason to believe that he's lying. Whereas the Smriti Irani case is in 2004, she files an affidavit. And in 2011, she files another affidavit. In 2014, she files another affidavit. And in all three affidavits, that is, she has given three different informations. So this is open and shut case.
Okay.
Whether today the BJP is accepting it's an error or mistake, but in the eyes of law, it's a violation. It's a violation as per the section 171G in the Indian Penal Code. It's a violation of section 181 in the Indian Penal Code again. Okay. It's a violation of 177 in the Indian Penal Code again, and all of them are liable in the court of law.
Let me bring in Mr. Narasimha Rao. Mr. Narasimha Rao, I saw your finger going up. I'm not going to ask you to respond to Ashutosh. I'm going to ask you to address a second question from me. I'm going to quote your manifesto, page 22. This is what it says. The BJP believes that education is the most powerful tool for the advancement of the nation. Now, if Smriti Irani's own educational degrees are under question, then her continuation as HRD Minister responsible for education not only makes a mockery of your manifesto, but it makes a mockery of your commitment to education. From your manifesto point of view, from the point of view of your own commitment to education, you need to remove this lady. Because if there's a question mark on her degrees, and if she's now caught to be lying about her degrees, she will undermine your commitment to education if she continues. In your own good and interest, remove her.
I think the Prime Minister is the best judge as to which minister is competent to handle which ministry, and I think it's best left to him.
Okay.
And I must be allowed to counter what Ashutosh said. Ashutosh said.
I'm running out of time.
No, just 1.5 minute. The cases of Tomar and Smriti Irani is very different because Tomar has done forgery. That is, allegations of forgery are
I accept that point. I'm running out of time, but you're absolutely right in pointing out that Tomar is accused of forgery, and there was an FIR against Tomar as well. Neither of those exist in Smriti's case. But very quickly, because I've got just 30 seconds, Ashutosh, you've heard Mr. Narasimha Rao say that this is a decision that should be left to the Prime Minister, and he's right. It's the Prime Minister's prerogative to retain or drop. How long are you prepared to give the Prime Minister? A quick answer, because we're out of time.
See, I think the Prime Minister should sack her immediately, because in the case of the Tomar, till the Delhi police filed an FIR in the 3 a.m. there was no FIR against him, and the matter was heard into the court of law.
So you want
it is the Delhi police
action,
which has filed an FIR, and by 10 o'clock in the morning has arrested, and then they have planted the different kind of the stories.
So you
I am
want
saying
action
today,
at the
if
same
Smriti
speed
Irani
and
is
in the
arrested,
same
the investigation
timeline.
happens.
I understand.
Not many things can come out of the skeleton.
I'm running out of time, but the point you're making is that you want action at the same timeline, in the same speed as you saw in the Tobar case. Anything else you claim would be hypocrisy. My thanks to both my guests for joining me. I apologize once again for the fact that we had a truncated period for this particular discussion, but the Vasundhara crisis is a bigger one, although who knows, the Smriti one could soon catch up as well. Unfortunately, even if achhe din are here for the rest of us, bure din, it seem to have fallen on the BJP government, at least today. My thanks to my guests for joining me, and if you haven't, thanks for watching.